Hello and welcome back. Again, we're here at our last day of Automate. For those of you who have been tuning in live, you're stuck with me again, Josh Ebert from A3 Association for Advancing Automation. I'm our Curriculum Development Manager, but I've got a new face here with me. Our crew has switched out, and I'm here with Sarah Jones from the REC Foundation. Sarah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and the foundation?
Yeah, so I've actually been in the world of robotics since 2014. Transitioned over to the REC Foundation in 2021.
Okay.
And I just actually transitioned over to a new role. We are now going to have me as a senior program manager for workforce development.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I understand you're also a former educator, right? Just like me.
I am. Started in education in high school mathematics.
Oh, wow. And so at least there's some connection, right? We're always talking about STEM in this field. I can see you got the M covered, right?
Yes.
So I've got to brag, I'm really coming off from a high here because I actually just got in the day before leaving for Automate. I came in from VEX Worlds in Dallas, and that was actually my very first VEX Worlds that I ever got to see. So I had been aware of VEX. I had actually volunteered probably like 10 years ago and kind of been involved locally. Didn't honestly know a ton about it other than just friends that were involved with it, that kind of thing. But without getting into a long story here, basically had this opportunity to see it firsthand and got the VIP experience, which is super cool. But I was seriously blown away. I cannot emphasize enough as a former educator, just seeing these students full of energy, excitement, tens of thousands of them packed into the dome there. It is just super cool. So I'm going to kind of leave this as an open-ended thing. Why don't you tell us, for those of you who maybe haven't seen it, what is VEX? What are you trying to do with that? How is it growing again from the little thing I saw to like this gigantic thing? So just, I'll open it up with that.
Absolutely, Josh. So that's actually the response that we get from most people when they experience their first Worlds. They just say it's inspiring to see all of the students that are there, the conversations that's going on, the collaboration, the students getting excited, their enthusiasm. You can't help but just leave that place just excited yourself, seeing what's going on. Actually, VEX Worlds just finished up yesterday in Dallas. We will actually be moving on to a new city in St. Louis. That just was announced. So we will be seeing everyone in St. Louis next year. Hopefully to see more, just to come check it out and see what we're about. We actually have over 100 countries right now that are represented through VEX Robotics competitions.
So definitely international. This isn't just a U.S.-based thing, hence the Worlds, right?
Absolutely, yes. It is definitely the VEX World. So we have, at any one point in time, over 60 countries that's represented at the World Championship. And so we get to see our students. The best thing about it is the students come up to us and they are excited because they were able to meet somebody from another country.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of these students, this is the very first time that maybe they've left their community, they've left their state, and they are actually able to go and they are able to experience someone else's culture right here with just robotics.
Sure, yeah. No, I can relate. Again, as a teacher, I think that those kinds of contests and organizations were critical to the learning experience. It's that experiential learning for some of them. Like, might have been their first time leaving their state or their county and getting that experience to interact with other people, like I said, other cultures, to travel. But I guess to maybe circle back, because I didn't set us up well here. Maybe for people listening, they don't know what VEX is. So, what is the VEX contest? What are they doing here at Worlds? Let's give them a little overview and obviously how it connects to everything with automation.
Yes. So we actually have two different competitions there that's going. We have VEX IQ, which is for our elementary and middle school students.
Okay.
So at this age, they get to learn how to collaborate with one another. So it's not that they are competing against somebody. They're competing against time.
Okay.
They're trying to score as many points as they can with another robot or another team. So they have to learn beforehand, how do I go and connect with this team? How do I strategize? So we're working on those soft skills. I've been listening to everyone here. They talk about we need soft skills. These students are learning it. So they're able to work together to score as many points as possible. We move into the older age group, then we have middle school and high school students.
Yeah.
And they are actually not just working with another team from somewhere else. They're having to work with that team to compete against two other teams that are trying to score points from their side. Right. So we have an alliance. Yeah. So blue against red. So it is, how do I still collaborate and learn how to work with somebody and talk about my strategies and I have to know my strengths and weaknesses so that way I can communicate clearly with my alliance partner so we can come up with the best strategy then to make sure that our alliance, is going to come out on top.
Yeah, and I saw that firsthand. Again, you talk about those soft skills, those essential skills. It is apparent. I mean, they get super, super competitive, but that was actually one of the things, their sportsmanship, teamwork, right? All that kind of stuff that they're working on, and they're hiding it in this fun thing that the students want to do, right? They are into this. They're hungry. And in fact, we had a student challenge here, as you know.
Yes.
We were excited to host VEX for one of our student challenge days, and you saw it. like the crowd here at Automate was gathering around because they would hear the sound of these students just like, oh yeah, oh, do this, stack the ring. And so it's just exciting. There is that energy and that interest from the students that makes all the maybe more traditional STEM stuff just kind of hidden beneath the fun part, right?
Absolutely. Teaching math, I wish I would have had this in my math classroom because it would have made it so much more fun.
Yeah.
You know, they want to know why we have to learn ratios. Well, we have gear ratios that we can relate to and all of that. So it would have definitely, it's definitely a great support then for the classroom to teach the education that they need.
Okay. Was there anything else that you want to share about VEX maybe before I kind of queue up my next question I'm curious about?
Just that, you know, we're creating enthusiasm, like you said. You saw the kids that they get excited. They're working with others. You know, it's all about wanting to see each other succeed.
Yeah.
Yes, it is competitive, but, you know, if I'm going to be paired with you on my next, you know,
I'd be sorry for you. That'd be very unfortunate for you. No.
If something is wrong with your robot, I want to jump in and help you. You know, I want to see what can I do to help.
Yeah.
So we are creating that enthusiasm for students to learn how to work together, work with one another, strategize, and just collaborate on a bigger level.
Right. And I know we can all underscore that idea. We've heard 100 times from employers, from education, you know, that idea of students being able to work together in their, you know, their areas of work, you know, at a company, on a factory floor. But it's nice that you guys are not just doing like the I don't know, the cliche teamwork. It's like you're actually applying teamwork in the field, right? It is, like you said, on solving a math problem, solving a science problem, solving this robotics automation problem. So that's an awesome connection there.
And it's learning, students are learning their strengths and weaknesses. So not everyone's designed to be a programmer. Not everyone's designed to be a driver or, you know, a builder, but they have to come together and work together because, you know, we see some students, they want to program.
Right.
So they program the robot the way they want it to be. And the driver picks up the remote and they're saying, well, this button is not doing what I think it should do. And so then they have to learn to work together of, you know, hey, I'm left-handed, but you're right-handed and you programmed it for a right-handed person. You know, I need to do this and work together.
Sure.
So they definitely learn how to work on each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Well, there's undoubtedly, again, a number of skills you guys are doing through this, which is phenomenal. So I'll maybe ask a challenging question. Do you see any payback on this? Are you seeing success from these students? Like, I saw it there, but like, what happens beyond once they graduate high school, assuming they're at the end of their high school career? Does what they get from VEX translate to something in the real world?
Absolutely, it does. So I've actually ran into few former competitors here at Automate that are here in booths. They see the REC Foundation or they see the VEX and they say, oh my goodness, you know, I grew up doing that, competing. Yeah. We've also seen a few people here in booths say we support our local competitions. We help with it.
Yeah.
So we do. We see students that are graduating that are taking what they learned through competitions, and then they're in this amazing world of automation and innovation.
Well, you alluded to that idea too, just of the idea that they may not just doing it directly in their employment, but that they're still involved with VEX. Because I love making up stats on the spot, but I know they said it there at the event. There was like, I want to say like 1,700 volunteers involved just to make this all happen. So it definitely seems kind of like a cycle, you know, a cycle in terms of that community where the people that are in it come back, they give back, they're involved. So that's also just an awesome part, you know, in terms of all those soft skills, community involvement.
It takes thousands to do what we do, and we could not do all of this without our volunteers.
Yeah. Well, I know that there's obviously more to REC than just these VEX competitions. So, you know, you kind of already alluded to what you're doing to maybe help students in their skills, the upskilling, the workforce development. So, yeah, tell us just more. What else is there with the REC Foundation?
Yeah, so we work with educators. So even though we talk about the students that are competing, we primarily work with our educators.
Okay.
We want to provide them with the resources that they can use in their classroom. So even if it is just a competition, you know, we're providing them with coach training. We're training them on how to incorporate this. We also have 2 industry certifications that they can use in their classroom.
Okay.
So these students that are learning all of these amazing skills and soft skills, technical skills, you know, they can then show that through our industry certifications. We have 2 of them, like I said. We have a pre-engineering.
Okay.
And then they can choose the robotics. So robotics is just basically that the pre-engineering certification.
Okay.
They are choosing to do the electrical, the mechanical, and the computer science modules to be able to
take
show.
it a little further then.
It is. It's taking it a little further. Where our pre-engineering, it definitely has modules that covers all of our foundations of engineering. So I mean, it's chemical, it's mechanical, electrical, architecture. So all of that included.
Well, that's awesome. We definitely hear about that constantly, again, as a former educator, just also in our work here with A3, there's this demand for credentials, micro credentials, certifications. We're actually working on a bunch of our own. So it's awesome to begin to see ways that we're kind of formalizing these things, because I know it's a fair thing to be challenged with, that we shouldn't just say students are getting this, that, the other. It's like, no, here is our formal curriculum. This is how all this awesome stuff translates into something that can be recognized by employers. And it sounds like, again, it is working. It's getting them connected to jobs and opportunities. So.
Yes. And then the good thing is we don't actually have a curriculum. We're just providing these educators with a certification. So they can choose, it's the stamp. So they can choose what curriculum they want to use in their classroom. And then show them that what their students are learning, that it does translate into a certification.
Gotcha. Well, again, we've talked a lot about K-12, but what would you say to someone maybe in the adult community, maybe someone who's graduated high school, maybe they're in college, are there other opportunities that you guys have? Is there ways they can get involved? What would you say to them?
Absolutely. So we do have competitions for our university level. So students that are deciding to go on to post-secondary school, they can definitely stay involved, get to a university that has a VEX U competition, stay there. They can also be part of our alumni association. So give back, be a voice, help those growing communities grow into what, they loved growing up as a competitor. We also have things that are outside of just the mobile robotics competition. So we do have the factory automation competition.
Tell me about that.
Classroom based. So you don't have to travel. So I know a lot of times educators are like, I have so many things on my plate and having to go to competitions. Whereas
halfway across the world, right?
Yes. With the factory automation competition, it actually uses a industrial arm along with the conveyor system. We use the VEX CTE
like a six-axis
work
robot, essentially.
Yes, and it is a tabletop version. So it's not something
little
that
baby.
It is a tabletop version that you can use in your classroom. There's definitely curriculum that's available that you can use, but we create a challenge then that after you have taught all the concepts for the students to learn how to program and work with it, that we encompass more than just the programming and the design. It's let's set it up as, what this would look like in an industrial area, and how can we incorporate, AI and all those other things that's going on in the world.
Big buzzwords.
Well, absolutely. So then it takes it from the fun mobile robot into what does this then correspond to with the real world.
And you said they don't have to travel for that, so I assume, is that
absolutely not? They
or
they just submit a video of what we have phases. So each phase gets a little bit more difficult. So phase 1 is, I know in education we talk about low floor, high ceiling. So that's kind of what our competition is designed around. Is phase 1 is very accessible to everyone, and then after you compete phase 1, you'll have to add on to it and add on to it. So it gets more and more difficult as you go.
That's super cool. I actually didn't know a lot about that. I've heard that term, but I hadn't understood the mechanics of that game. So now it's another one I'm going to check out and then get involved with. But we actually only have a few minutes left. So, I think maybe as a closeout, that there's over 1,000 students on the floor here, lots of companies and businesses. We've talked a little bit already about the K-12 side. So if you want to maybe give a word of advice to the students or whatever, that's awesome. But maybe the last thing I'd like you to think about is just what could you say to businesses, to industry? How do they get involved? What can they do aside from obviously hiring the students? We'd love that. But there's got to be some other way I'm sure they can get involved.
Absolutely. So if you're not already involved with your local school, this is a great opportunity for you to go and see what they're doing in the classroom, whether they're doing VEX Robotics or not. This is definitely your pipeline into your industry, into your business. So go and see what they're doing. Go volunteer, bring the students on board, have them come and see what you're doing, create that awareness for these students. So that way they know where they can possibly go once they're done, once they've graduated. And then also, we have ability to donate, to sponsor. We provide grants to communities that are getting started, schools. So there's lots of opportunities. You can definitely check out recf.org.
And I can say when I was there was a lot of big name sponsors. So it seems like there's a lot of industry that's really behind this and believes in it. But
so start small and then let's see where we can go from there.
I think I cut you off. You were just starting to say too, where would they go? Where's the call to action? A domain, website, email you?
Absolutely. Yes. You can go to recf.org. That is our website. You can also feel free to, email myself, Sarah_Jones at recf.org. And we can go from there. So it's all about getting started, maybe small in your community, at your school, maybe, or seeing how you can support it statewide. How can you provide funds to help more individuals get started, or sponsor VEX Worlds.
Yeah, plug, right? Yeah, that's awesome. It is an amazing opportunity. Like I said, what I saw just blew my mind, and I'm excited to maybe get to go again. So I got to figure out how to work that in and make some time next year. But
Yes.
Location. So
yes, absolutely.
Well, we are almost out of time, so I'm going to just quickly wrap up with a plug, but we appreciate everyone tuning in, and we'll be back here in a little bit. So thank you again, Sarah, for taking the time to be with us and all the work that you've done, again, even with the Student Challenge and beyond. And I look forward to partnering more with everything we're doing with A3 and RECF. So
absolutely. Thank you.